Hey guys, welcome to my legal classes. This is Ganesh Pujari, and in the series of Law of Torts, today I am going to cover Nature of Torts. We have just two slides. In the first slide, I will explain four important nature of torts, and then I will explain the same with the help of chart. That's my way, and with that I am taking you to first slide. As I said, there are four important nature of torts, and the first one among them is tort is a civil wrong. When I say tort is a civil wrong, we always need to remember that yes, tort is a civil wrong, but it is not that every civil wrong is a tort. Sometimes it may so happen that a civil wrong is not covered in any of the law. It's not been considered as an offense in that community or that society or that state, and by having such system it may not be considered as tort. So remember this, tort is a civil wrong, but not every civil wrong is a tort. The second point there I have very clearly mentioned, there can be few torts which attract both civil and criminal justice. However, the compensation is paid to the person who has experienced legal injury, and further state may give punishments. Not every tort is just civil wrong. There are certain torts which are civil wrong as well as criminal wrong. If you want me to give some examples, negligence, assault or battery, defamation, all of these are civil wrongs as well as they have criminal nature, or they have been covered by criminal law of the land. In that case, there the victim can ask for compensation and the state may also give additional punishments. So that is also one of the very important aspects that you need to keep in your mind. The second important nature of tort is such civil wrongs whichever we have discussed are redressable by legal action. These civil wrongs are not a codified law. Like for example, when we are discussing about criminal offenses, immediately we are thinking about Indian Penal Code, and for procedures we are thinking of Criminal Procedure Code. Likewise, if it is personal laws, then we have Hindu Marriage Act, Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act, Hindu Succession Act. All of these are coming to our mind. These are codified laws. Or if we are discussing about properties, then we have Transfer of Properties Act. These are all codified laws. But when we are discussing about civil wrongs, they are not codified in a particular single law. They are being distributed here and there. It doesn't mean that as they are not codified, they are not mentioned anywhere. That's not the way you need to understand. You need to understand that tort laws are not a single codified law, but they are covered in one or the other place. Like for example, if somebody is driving negligently, that is been covered in Motor Vehicle Act. If some manufacturer is not producing according to the standards, then we have Consumer Protection Act. When we are discussing about defamation, it is also covered in Indian Penal Code. That way, these civil wrongs are covered in one or the other law, but we will not see an independent law for tort. That way, it is not codified, but it is covered in one or the other law. That is how you need to understand. And that way, these civil wrongs are redressable by legal action because they are being covered in one or the other law. That is a key point we need to remember when we are discussing the second nature of torts. The third nature is damages paid in the form of monetary compensation. Tort is a civil wrong, and these civil wrongs, when they cause injury to any person, how are we making compensation to him, or how are we compensating? We are compensating with monetary compensation when we are discussing about torts. That's why I have mentioned there tort law focuses on paying damages to the person who has experienced legal injury. Now, sometimes those legal injury might not have caused any loss, but if there are legal injury, then there will be compensation. There we will have independent lessons on that also. Injuria sine damnum we will discuss over a period of time. But then that's the beauty of tort. But saying so, the person who has caused such legal injury might end up with both civil and criminal liability, and he might end up paying compensation as well as experience punishment too. Like for example, in the case of negligence, imagine there is a person who is not a qualified doctor and he does a surgery, and with that surgery somebody got hurt and that person is now going to court asking for compensation. Now the person who has experienced legal injury will get compensation. At the same time, for being fake doctor, he will be sent to jail. Now what is he experiencing? The person who has committed tort will pay compensation, and at the same time he will go through punishment also. So that is also possible. But in a nutshell, you need to remember for the third point that damages here paid in the form of monetary compensation. So that's the third nature of torts. The fourth nature is torts are civil wrongs, but they exclude breach of contracts or breach of trust. Why so? Always remember, breach of contracts or breach of trust happens between persons. So whatever judgment comes there, they will be right in personam. That means against a particular person you are claiming something and you will get it. That is right in personam. But tort is not so. Tort is right in rem. That means if you are asking for something and you get it over the world, the judgment will be against the entire world. Like for example, you have a property. Anybody in this world, if trespasses your property, then you can ask for compensation because that is your property and you have right over the entire world when it comes to your property. There are exceptions. Let's not get into exceptions there. But then breach of contracts or breach of trust are right in personam, whereas tort are right in rem. Tort rights are right in rem. So that way breach of contracts or breach of trust are exclusion from whatever civil wrongs or torts that we are discussing. I hope this is very easy and I hope it is clear, but I have to make it my way. So in the next slide we will see a quick chart and understand what are the nature of torts in simple way. There are four nature of torts that I have explained in my previous slide, and let's try understand them with the help of this simple chart. First part, there is a person who is expected to behave in a particular way, but instead of behaving in that expected way, he is choosing another way, and by doing so he is committing a tort. Let's imagine that way. Now such crooked behavior or wrongs are considered as civil wrongs. That's the first nature of tort. And for those civil wrongs, the person who has experienced injury can bring legal action, and when such legal action was brought, he will get damages in the form of monetary compensation. That's the third aspect. And when we are discussing about these civil wrongs, they are excluding breach of contract or breach of trust. I hope that's very clear. Torts are civil wrong. You can take legal action for the torts committed, and damages will be paid in the form of monetary compensation, and torts excludes breach of contract or breach of trust. I hope that is very clear. With that thinking, I am handing over this presentation to Nishan.
What are they talking? They're saying I'm not bad, I'm just excited and I just can't hide it. The other one says I'm frustrated. And another one says I'm hungry. They're noisy. With that, I'm concluding this session. Please subscribe our channel. Please like, share and comment our videos. Thank you. Bye-bye.